Hello, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred. I am half a hockey fan.
How you doing, Fred?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah?
It's been a really long week.
Yeah, the lead up to Christmas, right?
I am so far behind on my Christmas shopping. I've been working so much. We're putting out 2 issues of the magazine simultaneously right now. I don't know which way is up, which way is down. Everybody's probably just going to get gift cards this year at this rate, which is embarrassing because I pride myself on being an excellent gift shopper.
Yeah, well, you know, it's that time of the year. It's been busy for me too. Nerdy work stuff, dealing with contractors in different countries, trying to get them set up as we go on vacation forever.
Yeah, this is really the first time in a long time I've been working full time around the holidays, and it's just really cut into all of my decorating and gift shopping.
Yeah, well,
so it's hard, I guess, being a functioning member of society instead of an ADHD riddled mess.
Yeah, and, you know, having to watch hockey at the same time.
Oh, right. Also, watching hockey is basically a full-time job and having a podcast.
It's pretty exhausting.
I know. I don't feel like I've slept a full night in weeks.
I am not at the point where the hockey season feels grueling, but I feel like we're not too far away.
I also watch a lot more hockey than you do.
Oh, I know.
And write the scripts for this.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take it easy on you.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah. I feel like, you know, when that cold part of January or February sets in, that's when hockey feels like a real slog.
I think especially after the Four Nations face-off in February, that's when it's going to get real, because that's when we're really going to start. It's going to be, you know, we can really start looking at the playoffs as like an actual thing that we need to be worrying about.
Yep. Right before then, it'll be just like, oh my God, more hockey.
Exactly. So I don't know. I guess let's just try to enjoy this brief calm period before the hockey playoff push begins.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it.
All right. Sounds good.
Speaking of hockey and holidays, this week the San Jose Sharks dropped a Christmas wrap.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Like a Christmas wrapping, but it's Christmas wrap.
Oh, I didn't get that at first, but yeah, now I do.
So it's called Holiday Inflatables. It's the sequel to their cult classic from 10 years ago called Holiday Sweater. And it's truly magnificent.
Yeah, it's fun. I wanted to hate it. I could do without the bad auto tune.
That was a little unfortunate, especially since it was between every verse, and there are a lot of verses.
Yeah, no, that could use a little bit of like audio engineering tweaking. Like I see what they were going for, but you know, just maybe roll it back a little bit or use a higher quality version of auto tune.
It was a 5-minute video. I think it could have been tightened up to maybe 4 minutes, and really they could have cut out several just iterations of that auto tune for us. But other than that, I thought it would be cringy. It was cheesy, but not cringy.
It was not cringy because I don't know why, but like they bought into it maybe, or like they were into it, so it didn't seem cringy.
I learned a little bit more about it, and I guess they do some kind of holiday themed video every year.
Okay.
So 10 years ago, they did the holiday sweater wrap, but they've done some kind of holiday themed thing. I haven't seen any of the other ones, but they did some sort of a cappella thing.
Oh, okay.
They did something called Slappy the Elf. I'm not sure what it is, but it's supposed to be great. So it's a thing that they're used to, and the players all know about it. And
right.
It sounds like the players sort of sign up for it. So
yeah, nobody seemed there against their will.
They weren't reluctantly press ganged into it like every single Dallas Star is into everything that the media makes them do.
Yeah. No, they were there for it.
They fully signed on board voluntarily, and that really makes a lot of difference. So it was in the arena.
Yep.
Outside of the Shark, where they walk in the Shark Tunnel thing. I don't know any of the...
Yeah, the Shark Tunnel.
Yeah, the Shark Tunnel. You know, I don't really know the Sharks. I'm getting to know the Sharks, I feel like, this year.
I think everybody should, probably.
They're kind of entertaining.
Yeah, they're a little exciting as a team. I mean, they're not there yet, but I think the future is pretty bright for them.
I think so, too. They're kind of a rebuilding team like Philly, but in a very different way. Like Philly is very like chip on their shoulder. And the Sharks just are kind of bumbling along, and they're just very cute.
Yeah.
So they had several Sharks players in it, rapping.
Yes.
The rap verses were Mario Ferraro, Cody Ceci, Fabian Zetterlund, William Eklund, Jack Thompson, And Nico Sturm, who is actually quite good.
Yeah, yeah.
He apparently, there are rumors floating around that there is a version of him just rapping the whole thing, and I would listen to that version.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, he certainly seemed like he had practiced or does some rapping in his free time, like in the car maybe or something.
Something like that. There's a small but vocal movement that says to release the Nico cut, and I support that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think even the president of the San Jose Sharks tweeted to seemingly confirm that it exists.
Interesting.
So I just love how the whole organization has bought into it. There's a behind the scenes video of the making of it.
Oh, we still haven't watched that.
We still haven't. We need to. We should do that after this. There was also a feature by Mackenzie Blackwood, who is no longer a Shark, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Sounds good.
And the video featured the Sharks broadcaster Randy Hahn, who was doing the vocal.
Yep.
That was auto-tuned.
Right.
Was, he was, I'm happy to have him there, just maybe a little less.
I thought he was a little much, but it was okay. And I giggled at a few things that he did.
He brought broadcaster energy.
Yeah.
Punching an inflatable shark in the face was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And they had Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton, who were Sharks legends, who were apparently in the original holiday sweater video, which I believe Randy Hahn was as well.
Right.
And then they kept cutting to Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini, the Sharks rookies, in a different room, just sort of dancing around, being, I guess, whatever the dorky teenage boy equivalent of a video vixen is.
I didn't think of it like that, but yeah.
Well, my brain's a weird place. Nobody likes it here. It should be condemned. But, it was honestly, it was really fun. Whenever Macklin Celebrini does anything great as a hockey play now, and they post the clip on Reddit, the comments are now just filled with GIFs of him from that rap video.
Oh, really?
Trying to be street.
Yep.
Adorable, and I love it. It's just instant pop culture.
Yeah. And if this is a thing that's been going on for 10 years, him being in, like, for his first season, being in the video, I feel like that's important. Like, maybe he wasn't up for rapping or, but.
And probably just as well. Let's be real.
Yeah, no, I believe so. I did enjoy Ferraro.
Yes.
He had like big curly hair too. I did not recognize him.
Yeah, he's been rocking the curly hair this season, and it looks good.
Yeah. No, I think he's a fun guy. I think I've mentioned that before. Like, he makes me laugh on all those player association videos.
And he does. He's great. And they all wear holiday sweaters and light up necklaces and crazy hats. And there are holiday inflatables everywhere. There are some risque lines in there, something about a player being undateable, and that's why he got himself a holiday inflatable.
Well, I think the mascot is undateable.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they said a player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's even more risque.
I know. It's implying that he has like an inflatable girlfriend.
Yes, that's a shark.
I know. It was very strange. I love it. I also think maybe they are selling San Jose Sharks holiday inflatables, maybe.
Oh, wow.
So it's great. I just think it's wonderful.
It's a fun team.
It's a fun team. They're having fun. And God knows we would love it if our team had some fun or my team had some fun. But again, we'll get into that a little later too.
All right. Sounds good.
And then in other media news, the NHL dropped a new commercial this week. And once again, it was actually funny and clever.
Very surprised because, yeah, that was straight from the NHL with some sometimes awkward dudes that are, forced to be on camera.
Yeah, and they did a really good job. So the premise of it was about sort of how tipping has become out of control in society a little bit.
Tipping culture.
A
commentary on tipping culture.
Exactly. How every time you go anywhere, there's the tipping screen with the, 15%, 18%, 20%.
Yeah. Oh, there's just going to be a question on the next screen for you.
Mm-hmm. And, it's about a tip.
Yeah.
But the commercial is starring goalies. And obviously in the NHL, tipping, you tip the puck into the goal. That's a big way that scoring happens a lot of the time.
And I may have mentioned this, but tipping blows my mind every time. I can't believe they can do that.
It's physics. There actually was a thing during the Stars game last night. There was a little feature video between intermission where they brought in a school as part of a STEM class to talk about physics.
Wow.
And math with hockey, and part of it was tipping.
Yeah, no, I can see it. There's a lot of geometry and physics and forces and angles, and
it's like billiards, but on
Yeah.
track. I mean,
Extra dimensions.
it is high speed and high force. And I mean, I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. No, it's that totally.
It's a lot. No, we were watching some game recently and they said something about the puck going like 84 miles an hour when it got tipped in. And you were just,
I was blown. No,
mind-boggled.
dude slap shotted it. And the guy, I can't remember what team it was, tipped it. And it was an 84-mile-an-hour shot that he tipped. And it's not like it was 84 miles an hour and the guy was real far away and he had time to think about it. It was like real close.
no, it's instinctive. It's muscle memory. It's completely unfathomable.
Yeah. Blows my mind. I didn't even know it was a thing until last year when I started really watching hockey. And I think it was Joe Pavelski that...
Who is the tipping king.
Yeah. And I was like, what? Wait, he just put his stick out on purpose and moved it? And what? Yeah. Blows my mind.
It's a big part of, I think, why we're struggling on offense this year. We don't have anybody who can tip. But again, more on that later.
Yeah.
So the commercial starred several really great NHL current goalies.
Yep.
There were Jeremy Swayman, Juuse Saros, Jacob Markstrom, and Dallas Star, Jake Ottinger, in various food service and retail settings, talking about how tipping is out of control these days. And as Jake Ottinger said, especially when you're trying to save.
Right.
Which is such a great play on words.
It is. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so clever. It's so topical. It so ties into the NHL. And at the end of the commercial, Brad Marchand, you see somebody type in 63% tip and it cuts to Brad Marchand and that's his jersey number. So that's why.
Oh, I didn't get that reference.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then he says, what? I like tipping. He
Yeah.
kind of shrugs his shoulders and takes a sip of his drink. And that's the only bad part of the commercial for me.
Right.
His drink is full, but they did the audio of that like slurping sound that it makes when your drink is almost empty.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only bad thing about the commercial for me, which is so nitpicky, but I can't unhear it. And then I told you about it. Now you can't unhear it.
I can't unhear it, but I think any item where, you're being that nitpicky and that's all you've got, then it's a pretty good product.
It's great. No, the acting was really good.
Surprisingly.
Jake did a really extravagant eye roll that was so over the top.
Yeah.
I really think they pushed the players to be so dramatic to get them to do some kind of personality that it became really funny.
Yeah.
Juuse Saros at one point just sort of like looks down at the ground and sighs. They were all fun. It was so well written. It was really concise. I loved it.
It was filmed well too. The lighting was nice. Like it felt professional.
It was a professional production.
Yeah.
And it's the same team, I think, who did the Gen Z commercial.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That they did earlier. It's kind of part of this Gen Z golden era marketing campaign that they're doing.
Keep them making commercials.
I commented, I think, on the official NHL Instagram, and I was like, hey, usually I think you guys suck at marketing, but this was really good. So keep it up. So yeah, I was very impressed. I thought they did great.
Yep. Very fun.
So that's a lot of the NHL off the ice stuff. On the ice, there was a lot of stuff that went on this week. Probably the most notable thing for me was the St. Louis Blues played the Vancouver Canucks. I was actually watching that game live to see my beloved Radek Faksa, who until last year played for the Dallas Stars. And during that game, there was a puck battle against the boards, and a skate blade caught Faksa what appeared to be sort of high on the inner thigh. And he immediately left the ice and then kind of peeked down, his pants basically.
Right.
And then just hauled ass down the tunnel. I don't think I've ever seen a player leave the ice that fast in my life.
Wow.
And I was very worried. I was like, did he nick a femoral artery? Like, what's going on?
Right.
So the next day, I think it was, the media asked Jim Montgomery, the coach, about it. And he said, I'm not a doctor, but it was real close to his privates. It could have been much worse.
Wow.
And that led to many graphic news headlines that used words like slice and penis. So,
yikes.
Interestingly, a lot of hockey fans who have been clamoring for more transparency around injury issues have now decided that they would prefer to keep things vague.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? Actually, maybe just lower body injury is enough.
Yeah, maybe that is enough. Once you throw out the word penis.
And slice.
Penis and slice.
Right next to each other.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
No.
And then other than that, there was a lot going on, but my biggest thing was I was watching the Oilers Vegas game, which usually I wouldn't watch, but I just kind of threw it on because there's nothing else on at the moment. And then the Oilers just started absolutely demolishing Vegas. And I love watching Vegas get demolished.
And then you were happy.
And then I was happy. So, but they said, during the intermission, usually I would turn it off, but they said, and then stay tuned, Lauren McDavid is coming up. And I was like, why is Connor McDavid's wife going to be on?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she designed some fancy capsule collection of clothing. And
What's the capsule collection?
it's like a limited edition,
Okay.
sort of. Once they're made, like that's it. They're manufactured once. They'll never
Gotcha.
come out again. So
Gotcha.
it's a very limited.
It's like the McDavid X some brand thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, she had examples of them there. She was wearing one of the jackets. They were really cool. She was being interviewed by Gene Principe, who's the curly-haired guy who...
Yeah, that guy's a lot.
The hot dog guy.
The announcer from Canada who's a lot.
The announcer from Canada who's a lot. He did ask if he could wear one of the jackets, and he put it on and wore it for the rest of the broadcast, as far as I could tell.
That guy's a trip.
He's a trip. The jacket actually looked pretty good on him, and you could tell was really feeling himself, and he was like, I'm going to see if I can take this home. He really liked it. He was very impressed by her work.
Very nice.
Good for her. The other big news is I think we might have to do a Wedge Watch section.
Okay.
Because things are going crazy in Avalanche land.
Yeah. And this is, the week of like goalies being shuffled around that's like a common thing now.
It is. So on Monday, the Avalanche goalie carousel continued to spin as the Avs traded Alexander Georgiev to the Sharks in exchange for Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah.
And that's why he, in the Sharks Holiday Inflatables video was credited as a special appearance by Avalanche goalie Mackenzie Blackwood, because between filming the video and it airing, he was traded.
Yeah.
You're something of a woodworker. So I feel like the Avalanche might become your backup team now, because they have Wedgwood and Blackwood in the goal, and then forward Miles Wood. So it's just a team full of wood.
So much wood.
So much wood. You can't see the forest for the trees.
There's a lot of forest in Colorado too.
So much forest.
Yep.
I saw somebody on Tumblr say that everyone on the Avalanche is fulfilling an ecological niche.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's true.
And I don't know Blackwood, but I know that I've seen him in action and he was noticeable. I remember the name. I remember seeing him and being like, that guy's pretty good.
He has been quite good. He has really, we played them sort of early in the season and we won the Stars.
Yeah.
Say we. I didn't play him.
No. But you're part of the team.
I'm part of the team. Go Stars. No, the Sharks played the Stars at the beginning of the season and we won, but not by, it was a narrow margin. It might have been a 2-1 win or something like that.
Yeah.
And a large part of that was Blackwood.
Right.
He was standing on his head. He looked great. Honestly, part of the reason the Sharks have been doing so well is they've had Blackwood in the goal and then they've had, Celebrini and Will Smith. Their defense is still pretty terrible. I think they don't want to be doing as well as they are. And that's part of why they traded goalies.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, yeah, he's good. Why would you get rid of him? And they're like, no, not yet.
Yeah, no, they still are like, we don't need to be quite this far in the rebuild yet. We would still maybe like to get some good picks. So that kind of committing.
So give us that crappy goalie from Colorado.
Committing to the tank a little bit, maybe. That's a theory, at least. I don't know if it's my theory, but.
Yeah, that's interesting. I could see that.
Yeah. And, obviously with the Avalanche, they needed to do something. Things were not going well.
Things were not working.
So it was actually a reunion for Wedgwood and Blackwood.
Right.
So Wedgwood and Blackwood both started out in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Wedgwood was around first. He was in their AHL system for a couple of years. And in 2017, Blackwood came in as a prospect and they told Wedgwood that Blackwood was going to be prioritized over him.
Right.
And back then, Wedgwood was not the sort of chill, cool team first dude that he is now. And he didn't take it very well. And he held it against Blackwood, even though it wasn't his fault. And then some weeks later, Wedgwood was traded to Arizona for a 5th round pick, which is
right.
Not great.
Yeah. Yeah. Wedgwood's had a shuffled around career.
He's been all over the place.
Yeah.
A few years later, he ended up back in New Jersey. This time in the NHL with Blackwood. So they were reunited, this time at the NHL level. Wedgwood had done a lot of maturing since then.
Gotcha.
He went on to say, I didn't mean to be rude back then. It just felt like my chance was being taken away. You have to take a look in the mirror at some point, and I'm better for doing that. Blackwood and I are good now, but I hate that at first maybe he didn't love me as a partner. That's completely on me.
What a guy.
Which is so sweet. I keep falling in love with him more and more.
Yeah.
All the time. And I loved him with the Stars. And I was so sad when he left. And now he's making me love him even more.
Right.
And I am still very mad at the Stars for
Yeah.
Let him go.
Yeah. He didn't need to go.
He didn't need to go.
Yeah.
It's really upsetting.
Yeah.
So even now in media, Wedgwood has pretty much indicated that he plans to step back and be Blackwood's backup in Colorado.
I think he likes that role. I applaud him for that. I think he could probably get to number one, but I don't think it's his vibe.
I think so too. I think he was fine stepping up and being the main guy after, sort of once he got there.
Right.
And depending on what was going on with Georgiev, like if he needed to step up for a while until Georgiev got it together. But once they traded Georgiev and brought Blackwood in, he knows Blackwood's a really capable starter and he's been his backup before. And he likes being in that supporting role, I think. So
Yeah.
he's fine stepping up when he needs to and then being the supportive guy the rest of the time.
Yeah. And I vibe with that. That's kind of how I am in my work role. Like, I don't care about any of the stuff I do, but everybody else seems to. So I like to help them be better at what they do, So it's a cool vibe.
You're kind of like that as a spouse, too, honestly. Like, you're not a hockey fan. You're half a hockey fan at most. And here we are doing a hockey podcast.
Yeah.
It was literally your idea to do a hockey podcast, too.
It was, yeah.
You were like, I think you would be good on a hockey podcast. And there should be more lady voices in hockey podcasts. So
I agree with this.
You're a team player.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of the definition of a team player, you and Wedgwood.
That's we're soulmates.
I need to arrange a play date for you guys.
I think so.
We've now seen Blackwood doing some media for the Avs, and he seems really similar in demeanor to Wedgwood.
Yeah, I liked his little... that's the first time I've ever seen his face or him talk, and I enjoyed it. He was a little less eloquent, I think, than Wedgwood, but he was still there for it and cool.
Yeah, he also seems to really be a room guy, and he said that he and Wedgwood are similar that way.
Yep.
He is another one who doesn't really let the ups and the downs of the game bother him.
Yeah, I feel like you need to have that as a goalie, right?
You have to.
You got to be totally in the moment. Okay, they just scored on me real bad. I messed up. Okay, never mind.
One thing that I thought was really interesting was that he talked about how just like you can't expect to win every game, you can't expect to turn in an A+ performance every night in the goal.
That was an interesting take. Yeah,
really
he's like I'm not going to be great every night.
Yeah, he said sometimes, it's going to be a B game. So it's just about making sure your B game is the best that it could be.
Right.
And that it's going to be good enough to, keep it down if the rest of the team is playing well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a really cool way to approach it, I think, and not something that I feel like a lot of goalies would acknowledge out loud to the press before they've even played a game with this new team.
Right, exactly. He's like, I'm not going to be that great all the time.
Yeah, he's like, sometimes I'm not going to play as up to my potential because you don't always play 100% all of the time. But I've worked really hard at making sure my not 100% is really fucking good.
Right.
And that it's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you see that, right? When goalies win the game sometimes, but sometimes they're just good enough to get through. And then sometimes they're awful.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was him or Wedgwood that said this, but there was the comment like, we're not going to go 82-0.
I think that was Wedgwood.
Right.
But it's a similar philosophy.
Yeah. It's like, hey guys, we're going to do our best out there. We're going to give you everything we've got. And sometimes that's not going to be enough.
Right. But we'll just try to make sure it's as close to enough as it can be.
Yeah. Really cool.
No, I think that they have really good vibes. They have whatever happened between 2017 and 2020 or whenever they got reunited, whatever counseling or therapy that Wedgwood went through, he must have brought it back. And he and Blackwood just really seem to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And they've both been really doing well since coming to the Avs this week. Wedgwood started on Sunday and had a shutout. On Tuesday, he started again, and they won 6-2 against the Penguins, and he had a 92.6 save percentage.
Nice.
They did lose to Utah on Thursday, and he let in 4 goals, which was an 86.4 save percentage, which is still better than a lot of Georgiev games.
Yeah, right.
And then Blackwood had his first start with the Avs last night, and the Avs won 5-2, and he had a 94.9 save percentage.
All right.
And the team, the handshake or the goalie headbutt lines have been very...
Oh, God.
The vibes have been great.
They're so happy that they can maybe not stress every time the
Oh my
puck's near the
God.
goal.
They're just like swarming the goalies. There was one where like Nate McKinnon was so like, I think it was Nate McKinnon. Somebody was all over Wedgwood so much that like nobody else could get a turn.
That's awesome.
It was great. And then last night too, Wedgwood went over and had a very tender embrace with Blackwood, and they just seemed to be really vibing. So
Really good. Yeah. And we saw, God, I can't say his name, Georgiev.
Georgiev.
We saw his interview like after his first game or before his first game, and he seemed happy to be there.
He did. I think a change of scenery was maybe really necessary for him. And I haven't followed too much about what's going on. I know the Sharks lost last night, but I don't know if he started. But I do know he had his first start with the Sharks this week, and he did win his first game with the Sharks
Yeah,
this week.
I think it was that.
I think it was after that. And he got whatever their special boy prize is.
Yeah.
And like it's a vest, I think. There.
Is it a vest?
Yeah. It's at least not a giant stupid hat like the Avs have. What is that?
Yeah, we should probably go through like all the team stuff, like what they do. Like,
Yes,
do the Kraken like give you like a big giant fish or something?
Probably. I don't know. Yes. We need to do a compile list of the special boy prizes that the special boys get. But yeah, no, I'm happy for all of them. The goalie roulette seems to be going pretty well.
Yeah, for sure.
It even worked out for Annunen, who was the backup Avalanche goalie who ended up going to the Preds.
Okay. Yep.
Because the Preds did really well against a very good team.
Interesting.
Which, again, we'll get into. So I think we can go ahead and move on to the Stars at this point.
Perfect.
So last week, I was really hard on the Stars.
Oof. Dark times around here.
Very critical of the Stars. We recorded on Sunday morning, and the Stars played the Calgary Flames on Sunday evening, and they made me look like an idiot because they were fantastic. The game didn't start out on the best foot because the Flames scored exactly a minute in, which is never a good sign.
No, it's always rough to start a game that way.
But Wyatt Johnston tied it up with a power play goal. So that's always good.
That was a good looking goal.
It was a good looking goal.
Yeah.
So Wyatt scoring, yay. Power play goal, yay. We traded goals again in the second period. Robo had one. He hustled. He got his skates under him, which was what I was saying last week that he never does.
Right.
So we hadn't even released the episode yet. And I was like, they've heard us. They've bugged the house.
they heard your commentary and they're like, no.
I was like, shit, do we need to re-record the episode? Because this is not going to go well.
Right.
But we had already pretty much edited it at that point. So it was too late. But Calgary tied it up again, 2-2. And in the third period, the floodgates really opened. We had a goal from Rope, we had a goal from Sam Steele, and then we had 2 goals from Harley. So we won that game 6-2.
Yeah.
And the Flames goalie is really great. His name's Dustin Wolf, and he's
Wolf. Yeah, yes. I like Wolf.
He's really good. He's small. He's I think 5'11", maybe 6 feet.
Yep.
He's a small boy for goalies.
He seems fun though.
He's very fun. They showed part of his warm-up routine where he was jumping up and down. And
yeah. He does like some crazy stuff.
Razor thinks he's great.
Yeah.
Razor loves him. He's on one of my fantasy teams. Mm-hmm. Maybe both of my fantasy teams. At least one of my fantasy teams. And he does really well. He's been really good. He's in the Calder conversation, which is unusual for rookie goaltenders.
Yeah.
Always. And then this year, the Calder field is really crowded. You've got Celebrini, you've got Michkov, you've got Stankoven. So to still be in the mix, that's a really good sign.
Well, he's not going to be in the mix with those bunch, but anyway.
Well, he still is for now.
Yeah, I think that's great for him.
So that, us beating him, not an easy feat.
Yeah, right.
Then we move on to Thursday when...
that's right. They had a big long break like the Flyers did last week.
Right. Yeah. Sunday to Thursday, we were off. And I think it was our first time where we'd had 3 days off since Finland.
Okay.
So everyone was like, oh, that's good. Maybe that's why we've been kind of dragging, as we've just been really tired. Maybe we'll look good after a break. Spoiler alert, we did not look good after a break. The Preds are one of the worst teams in the league right now, and they look like goddamn geniuses. We looked awful. There was exactly one bright spot to the evening, and that was the NHL debut of Leon Bichel.
Yes, that was a big moment for us and you.
Me in particular.
Yeah.
I could not really focus on anything for the rest of the day once I found out that he had been called up. Matt Dumba, I guess, got injured, and instead of calling up Petrovic, or Capobianco from the Texas Stars, who they usually do.
Right. They've been called up before.
They've been called up before. They both have NHL experience over the years.
Yeah.
They said, fuck it, we're bringing up Bish.
Yeah.
And I was stoked.
It was an exciting day. Yeah.
Yeah. So some background on him. He's a 20-year-old D-man from Switzerland. He was drafted 18th overall by the Stars in 2022. He played a little bit for the Texas Stars last year before going back to Sweden for the rest of the season. And then he made quite a splash in the preseason with the Dallas Stars this year.
Oh, right. When they're all together.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It's training camp and they sort of put everybody together and then they sort of cut people and send them back to the Texas Stars or to juniors or wherever they need to be.
Right.
And he was really in the mix right up until the end. But ultimately, they just wanted to let him cook a little bit more.
Yep.
They really want to do those long development processes.
Yeah.
Which has worked. It worked for Wyatt and Logan and Maverick Bourque. And
right. No, they've got a good system.
They do. They have a great system. He is large. He is 6'7" and 231 pounds. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
All of the Dallas beat reporters could not stop talking about how big he was. You know, I was on Twitter and everyone was like, Leon Bichsel is so big.
Mm-hmm.
I stood next to him and I remembered he was big, but I forgot how big he actually was. He is a very, very big boy.
And then you put him on top of skates.
Yes. Then you put skates on and he's just a behemoth. He has a very physically aggressive style of play that Dallas has been desperately missing.
Yeah.
But he's also really skilled. He's really agile and quick. He's truly special. And I'm obsessed with him.
Right. And we saw him.
We did when the Texas Stars came to Colorado to play the Colorado Eagles.
Yeah.
Which is near us. We went and saw him. And he really stands out.
We went and saw him. We went and saw this.
We went and saw the Texas Stars, but, your eyes are drawn to him.
No, I think we probably mentioned that on the podcast when we came back. Like, he was the most noticeable thing on the ice.
And it's not just the size.
Not just because you can't miss him when he's on the ice, but
just the way he plays.
Yeah.
It's not just the size. It's not just the physicality. He's smart about the way he plays and he just does everything. He's a great two-way player. I just really like him.
Yeah.
And I've been looking forward to seeing him at the NHL level. And he did not disappoint. Sadly, everybody else on the Stars did. He did go to the penalty box on his very first shift. And honestly, I'm not mad about it.
That's kind of fun.
It's kind of fun. I think it sort of sets the tone for the player he's going to be. He cross-checked somebody. Well, not the greatest penalty in the world, but we killed it. So that's fine.
Right.
And that's just kind of how he is. He's going to be a little bit of a hothead. He also was the only Stars player to score a goal all game.
Incredible.
The single goal.
One goal.
One goal all game.
Brand new rookie.
Scored by the brand new rookie. And I don't remember the exact thing, but he might be the first defenseman to score in his first game since the Stars came to Dallas.
Right.
It's not very common. I mean, defensemen scoring as rookies.
Right. For sure.
It's pretty impressive in your first game, nonetheless.
First game. Yeah. And it was a good shot. It was nice. It was just so clean.
Great shot.
Yep. Beat that goalie. No problem. Got it around or by somebody trying to defend him. It was awesome.
The goalie who was the backup goalie from Colorado who got traded to the Preds. But other than all of this, the Stars were truly deadbeat dads in front of their new child.
Yeah.
The most egregious example came with about 3.5 minutes left in the third. We were down 3-1, and we've come back from worse deficits before.
3-1's not bad.
We've come back from deficits like that against that same team.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Notable games from last year.
So we had an empty net. Robo got in a foot race with a Nashville player. Robo had a head start, and the Nashville player fell down, and Robo still got beat to the puck. He pretty visibly pulled up to avoid getting hit because he's just really afraid of physicality.
Yeah.
The puck came loose. He made a really half-assed effort to collect it and ended up kind of giving it right to a Nashville player who put it directly in the empty net.
Yeah.
And that really just sealed the deal. And we lost 4-1. And it's all the stuff I was talking about last week where we don't have any follow through. We're not like the Flyers just crashing the net and crashing ourselves into the boards. We just take our foot off the gas. Leon Bichsel deserved better, and so did Stars fans.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Stand by that.
Yeah, I saw the end of that, and it was disappointing, I guess would be the word.
Underwhelming.
It was bad. It was not good. It was not a good look.
We were all in the Stars subreddit and the Tumblr Stars live blog just dismayed.
Yeah.
dismayed.
Dismayed. That's probably a good word.
It was not good. I will say there are a couple of people, especially in the Stars subreddit, who still were being really positive about it and saying, oh, it's just a speed bump. And here's the thing. I don't want to complain about the Stars all the time. I do love them and they are my team. So I did make a little list of some alternative spins on our recent less than stellar performances to try to explain things away.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, we were just being nice. Okay. Stuff with the Predators has honestly just been getting hard to watch. So we decided to throw them a bone and let them have a pity win.
Okay.
So that could be one explanation.
Sure.
Number two, the NHL is secretly allowing teams to gamble to get more cap space. So we bet heavily on the Preds and through the game so we can afford to eat Dumba's contract and bring in some better defense.
I mean, that's not that far out from some things that I think.
I know, right? I mean, I wouldn't actually say that's positive, but at least I guess it's better than
I think it's mostly the refs.
Hardcore sucking.
I think it's mostly the refs betting, but yeah.
That's a topic for another day, but do not disagree. Next theory, we are conserving our energy so we aren't tired out by the time we get to playoffs.
I mean, that could be a Pete DeBoer move.
That's really been our problem in playoffs is we just are exhausted by, the end of the second round. So,
and that's going to be what the Flyers are going to be like by the time they get into possibly maybe making it in.
Yeah, you leave it out on the ice every time and then you just don't have anything left by the end of the season.
Yep.
And then number 4, we are simply lulling everyone into a false sense of security. We're actually fucking great. We're just pretending to be low-key bad right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my copium.
All right.
I don't actually believe any of that.
Yeah, no, they had a bad game.
They had a bad game, and it's not their only bad game. And
it's a growing trend.
It's a growing trend, and I'm not going to be one of the people who are like, that's it, the season's over, we're not going to make the playoffs, tear it all down. But I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm monitoring the situation.
You're still a dedicated fan regardless of what they're going to do. So.
I'm always going to be a Stars fan. They're always going to be my number one team. I've been watching them for 12 years now, I think.
Yeah.
Close to it. So I'll be a Stars fan.
You'll get through this.
I will. You don't become a hockey fan to be normal and sane.
Yeah.
No,
you're not one of those people. Well, you have turned off the game a couple times, but you're not one of those people that's like, oh, that's it. I'm leaving early. I'm shutting this thing down. You're in it.
I really have only turned off the game if the Flyers were also playing.
Right.
So I've switched the channel to a better game for a team that I also like.
There you go.
But I've never just turned off the game and walked away fully.
Exactly.
So I'll have it on and suffer.
Right.
Because that's what true fandom is. I will also say that as much as losing 4-1 to the fucking Preds sucked, that metaphorical bloodbath was better than the literal one we were almost subjected to.
Mm-hmm.
Leon Bischel was checked by Michael McCarron, and Bish went down, his skates went up, and his skate blade ended up slicing McCarron on the jaw and upper neck.
Yeah.
McCarron did come back and played the rest of the game, but he has a gnarly stitched up wound on his face. And it's pretty terrifying.
Man, I'd be wearing one of those neck protectors if I was a hockey player.
For sure.
There's no reason I would. It's uncomfortable. Oh, it doesn't look cool. I'd be wearing the ear guards too. I'd do a full face mask, honestly.
You would have a full neoprene, everything.
Yeah.
You'd be in a gimp suit.
But yeah.
But a skate protected gimp suit.
Okay. But yeah, since, that accident, was it last year?
It was exactly a year ago, actually. They had, I think, his jersey retirement yesterday and a memorial ceremony.
Yeah, neck guards, I definitely wear that. That's not anything to mess around with.
No, it's really awful. Speaking of skate slicing things that they shouldn't, the Stars played the Blues last night.
All right.
Sadly, Radek Faksa was unable to travel with the team due to his recent unfortunate injury.
Yeah. That's, I would stay at home too.
Absolutely. Former star Ryan Suter was in the house.
Ah, yes. Our favorite.
Everybody's favorite, Ryan Suter, who is currently getting paid by 3 NHL teams. He's still getting paid by the Wild. He's getting paid by the Stars right now because he keeps getting bought out. And he's getting paid by the Blues.
Can you imagine being in the accounting finance department, the payroll department of an NHL team where you've people are getting oh, geez. Anyway.
Can you imagine being so bad at your job that you get fired and bought out, but then also so good at your job you keep getting hired?
Yeah.
It's wild.
I want a contract like that.
Right. Me too. I need to start being simultaneously better and worse. Let's make it happen.
I'm so good. You just keep paying me. And I'm so terrible. You keep paying me.
Exactly.
Right.
So we did have a bit of a sleepy start to the game last night once again. I wouldn't say we're quite as soporific as, say, the Islanders, but we were quite drowsy for a team that was on our third consecutive home game.
Yeah, I watched most of that first period and I was like, oh boy, it's another one of these games. And then I disappeared until like the last 9 minutes of the third.
You certainly did, which is about when you think a hockey game starts anyway. So
true. But apparently things picked up.
They actually did. They did get more exciting later. In the first period, we did have to kill off a penalty. And not long after it started, Ilya Lyubushkin dropped his stick on the ice. Colin Blackwell gave his stick to Bush because Bush is one of our best penalty killers after probably Esa Lindell. And, you know, he's really integral to the PK. And Colin Blackwell still stayed in the PK the whole time without a stick and did really well. He was getting his body in there, cutting off passing lanes. Right before the penalty expired, he absorbed a puck. Blocked a hit, absorbed the puck, went down on the ice, immediately popped back up. And then exactly 1 second after the penalty expired, the Blues scored.
I saw that penalty and man, they got worked by the Blues on that. Like it was like full 2 minutes, like no change with one guy down a stick. I was like, well, they're gonna do something eventually if they keep working them like this, and they sure did.
As you said last night, it was kind of a 5-on-3.5 instead of a 5-on-4.
Right.
But you know, somebody last night was complaining that, oh, why didn't he just go get another stick? And it's like, you can't just do that. You can't just like
that person's never watched the NHL. You
just go somewhere.
You just can't be like, hold on, guys, I'll be right back.
Oh, just a minute.
That's why you clear it.
Exactly.
Right.
But we just couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So it was not great.
No, and I will say, man, that was kind of when I was like, all right, I'm not going to watch much of this game. They just looked tired. They just were standing around. Like it wasn't the movement of the Blues, like they weren't like moving. They were just kind of locked down and it didn't look like they were going to come out of that one on top.
We weren't spending a lot of time in our zone.
Yeah.
It wasn't promising. But I guess in the first intermission, we hit the smelling salts or something because we came out looking much more weak in the second period. In a miraculous turn of events, Steve Spott actually adjusted our power play. We went on the power play in the second, a couple minutes in, and we didn't just do the same thing we always do and just sort of like dump the puck in and then just kind of pass it around and then not do anything with it and just let the clock run out. We actually like set a play and put Robo in the middle of like a diamond formation and then got the puck to him and he put it in the net.
He put it in the net.
Put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
We're like, what? That's crazy. It's a power play goal and a Robo goal. Yeah.
No, I saw that on the highlights between things or whatever. And it was a good looking power play. It had movement, I think is what I noticed most, which is not something I noticed a lot with the Stars.
Yes, it was not static.
Right.
And passes were connecting. And
that's another thing.
It was really good. And we honestly had lots of amazing chances throughout the game. The only reason I think we didn't have a much higher scoring game was Binnington was just on his A game in the goal for the Blues.
Apparently, yeah.
He had some really good saves.
I mean, I think they should just shoot better shots, right?
Yes. No, that's obviously, yes. They should just shoot it better.
Yeah, like don't shoot it right at him. Like shoot it like beside his person.
Correct. That is what I read on the internet is, well, it's not enough to just shoot. You should shoot it better.
Yeah. Yeah. So. No, it looked like there was tons of shots on goal, right?
Oh, yeah. We outshot the Blues. I don't know the final total, but I know at one point during the second, I think we had 32 shots to 11 to them.
Yeah.
So, and that was just in the second. The game did end up going to overtime, and Matt Duchene ended up scoring the game winner. That was an absolute beauty. He just turned on the jets and just hustled and just put it in. And he had the follow through that I've been talking about that we've been missing.
There was a hunger to it.
He knocked the net off. Like he put it in and he just had so much momentum. He just crashed right into the net and knocked it right off.
Yeah.
And then almost fell down and crashed into the boards. And it took everything to stay on his feet. But I feel like they're just so worried about looking stupid sometimes. And like, just stop caring about how you look. Just fucking put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about how you look.
No, some of the skills players, you do get that vibe where it's like, ooh, if I pass it to him and he'll pass it back, then I can do it like this. And don't
worry about your highlight reel.
Right.
Worry about scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you fall down. I care if you score a goal. I don't care how pretty it looks.
No,
I
exactly.
care if you score the goal.
We like greasy goals in this house.
Yeah, I like greasy goals. I like skilled goals. I just like goals. I mean, if they're my team scoring the goals, I don't like them as much if it's the other team. But, you know, Otter did face fewer shots, but he also made some really important and really challenging saves.
Yeah, he looked good.
He looked good, and he's been looking good this season. I will say any of our losses, I don't think have been on him.
Right.
For the most part, it's been the team and then also the backup goalie.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a scary moment in the game when Roope caught a puck in the midsection and went down in really visible pain.
Yep.
And former Dallas star Ryan Suter immediately skated over to check on him, even though the play was still live. And some of the players, I guess, were urging the refs to blow the whistle to stop the play so Roope could get medical attention, and Suter seemed to be one of them.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is really sweet.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I know he's terrible, but I don't think he's a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was apparently super toxic in the Wild dressing room, locker room, for what I hear. But I've never heard anything like that from the Stars perspective. And, you know, at one point, too, he and Robo kind of had a little chit chat between a play, too. Yeah. So I think, you know, maybe he is sort of one of the room guys that they're missing out on.
Could be.
He certainly seemed very protective over Roope, and it was really nice.
Nice.
But I will say, once again, the best play of the game award for me goes to Leon Bichel. And it was the hit on Braden Shen.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. So he checked Braden Shen over by the Stars bench and just leveled him, sent him deep into the Stars
just
bench.
Pushed him right over, like back leaning on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, just fully over the bench, really. I mean, just on top of the bench. His legs kind of went over the wall.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was a really hard hit. And it just looked like he was flicking a mosquito. It did not look like it was any effort
did not,
at all on Bish's part. And then Bish just kept skating away, just leaving this poor man.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. It, you know, when you see those kind of hits, you're like, ooh. And it wasn't one of those ones where you're like, ooh, it just seemed kind of natural, just like, flicking a fly. And then he was just off.
And I mean, the whole arena just sort of gasped with it.
Yeah.
You know, the announcers, everybody was just like, what?
Yep.
And then it turned out that Jamie Benn, who was on the bench, was mic'd up for it. And the Stars released the audio afterwards. So Ben is on the bench and you actually hear him say, hit him. So Bish hits him. That's what Bish does. He's a team player.
Right.
And just fucking levels him. And then you hear Jamie and Shen, Braden Shen, who is the captain of the Blues, who was the one who got hit. You hear them both just laughing.
Right.
It was just such a preposterous hit. And then you hear Jamie Benn being like, here, I got you.
Yep.
And like helping him up and like kind of scooping him back up so he can get back on.
Yeah. It wasn't like, I'm going to like smush you down and keep you like stuck here, which sometimes would be a Jamie Benn move. He was like, no, let me get you up, man. That was rough.
Let me tell you, Reddit was very surprised that Jamie Benn was not a cartoon villain for once.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, he was being real nice there. And
I think he just realized that hit was enough.
He really, I don't think would do something like that in general. Also, he and Braden Shen are friendly.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, no, he like called him some kind of name like Buddy or Cappy or Chummy or something. Nobody can figure out what it was he said, but he was like, here, let me help you up there, buddy.
Yep.
And the best part too is on the Stars social media replay, they had a little inset of what they called the stank cam because Logan Stankoven was on the bench and just made the most shocked, like, happy yet scandalized face, like he could not believe he was seeing this in person.
Right.
And I did kind of notice too during the game last night, you know, we've talked all season about how we have the tiniest rookie in all of the land with Logan Stankoven. And now with Bichel, we have the world's largest rookie. He's just huge. So it's nice. It kind of balances out now.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
It's great. I love them. I want them to like have a buddy comedy now.
Yeah.
It's great. I love Bish. We had him for 2 games now and I would like him to stay forever.
Yeah.
I'd be very sad if Dumba comes back and he goes back down.
Yeah, I hope he stays up too. I think he brings a good energy. And
our defense looked great last night, I would say.
For sure.
Super fantastic.
I will say I think the Stars are good 3-on-3 players.
We looked really good in overtime last night.
Yeah, it was very competent. And I also mentioned this, right? Like, yeah, the last 9 minutes of the game are really where the game is. But once it goes to overtime, like none of the previous game really matters at all. Like that's the game now. And now I'm just watching a 3-on-3 tournament.
Yeah, and they made it look good last night.
Yeah,
which isn't always the case.
No.
which isn't usually the case with 3-on-3 games, to be quite honest.
Yep.
It's usually just kind of a waiting game.
Yeah. No, it's really good.
No, it was great. I loved it. So let's move on to the Flyers.
Okay.
The Flyers had some ups and downs this week, which is to be expected with a team in a rebuild.
Yeah.
It started on Sunday with a home game against Utah. It was actually a pretty tight game. It was briefly tied at 3-3 when Jamie Drysdale scored a great-looking goal, but then that sadly got called back for goaltender interference.
Sure.
The Flyers were still really in it, though. They were only down 3-2 with a couple minutes left in the third. But then Drysdale left the puck for Morgan Frost. The Flyers were on the power play, by the way. So they're down 3-2 on the power play. They still have 4 minutes. Anything could happen. But then Drysdale left the puck for Morgan Frost to pick up and enter the zone. And Frost just overskated it and did not pick up the puck.
Oof. He sure didn't pick up that puck.
Nope. Instead, a Utah player got it and scored shorthanded, which took the score to 4-2.
That was ugly.
It was horrific.
It was, yeah, we saw that one live and it was just like, oh my God, this really just happened?
I literally hid my face in my hands.
Yeah.
It was just like secondhand embarrassment, like how I get when I watch like Frasier episodes. Like,
Right.
Just, oh no.
Yep.
I didn't like it. It was pretty brutal. But at the end of the day, no one was really talking about the 4-2 loss. Instead, they were talking about Michkov.
Yeah.
So at the end of the game, there was about 16 seconds to go, and there was a big scrum with Michkov in the middle of it. There were 3 refs trying to drag Michkov out of the scrum, and he was not having it. He wanted to keep punching whoever he was punching.
Yep.
One of the refs decided that the best way to de-escalate the situation was to repeatedly blow his whistle in Michkov's face a lot, which it turns out that blowing your whistle in the face of an angry Russian rookie, not great.
Not a good move.
Because Michkov kind of like swatted at it to knock it out of his mouth. So he immediately got ejected from the game. And then people noticed in the background when he was going down the tunnel, he stopped to sign a water bottle for a fan, which everyone immediately became obsessed with because they're like, that is some rock star shit right there.
Right.
Like, what a badass.
Yeah.
But then it turned out the real story was even better. It was a kid who before the game had asked Michkov for an autograph, and Michkov said after the game. So as Michkov was coming down the tunnel, the kid was like, can you still sign this? And Michkov stopped and signed the water bottle, even though he had to be like steaming mad at that point.
Yeah.
He like lived up to his promise. He did it. There was a guy who's kind of a journalisty guy, not like an official one, but a writer who was kind of across from it and saw the whole thing and tweeted about it. And he said the kid's face just like lit up and it just made his day.
Yeah. Really cool.
It was like one of those things that's going to be like a lasting memory for him.
Right. It's part of the folklore of Michkov now.
It totally is. So it's like, it still is a baller, like rock star move because.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he had to know on some level how it would be perceived. But he was just like, no, I promised this kid I'm going to sign his water bottle. Like,
yeah.
I mean, what a cool guy.
Yep.
I love it. So, yeah, no, people loved that. And now they love it even more now that they know that context. So, fantastic. Tuesday, the Flyers played the Blue Jackets. And despite speculation that Meach would be suspended or benched for that move,
right,
he was in the game. Torts also kept Frost in the game despite the catastrophe from the puck that, got not up by him.
I mean, yeah, what are you going to do? It happened.
It happened. And he redeemed himself. He made some great plays throughout the game and he scored a goal. It was a great game offensively overall. Kate scored his second goal of the season. Tippett got on the board and TK scored twice. So the final score was 5-3 in favor of the Flyers.
Yeah.
We also, I think during the media for that, maybe the pregame media, one of the Philly beat reporters, maybe Jackie, asked Torts about the water bottle signing incident. And she was like, oh, I assume you've seen the video by now. And Torts is like, wait, what video? I don't know anything about this.
Torts is in his own world.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
He's just like, I watched hockey. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So she kind of gave him a very brief rundown on that. And he was like, no, I haven't seen that. And he kind of looked a little exasperated, but mostly you could tell, even without knowing the full context of it, he mostly just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Everyone was like, oh, he's kind of cracking up inside.
Yeah. He was like, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it's pretty great that he signed a water bottle on his way out of getting thrown out of the game. But I'm kind of mad I haven't done that myself before.
Yeah. No, it's a very Philly thing, I think.
I think it's so Philly. It's great that all of these people who are not from Philly, like TK, Torts, Meach, have all ended up there. And they just are like the Philliest people. It's just great for them. Thursday, the Red Wings came to Philly to play the Flyers. Before that game, you noted that a lot of people online seem to be pretty down on Scott Laughton.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of Scott Lawton hate.
In comment sections.
And people, I mean, it's to the point where like, we need to trade him, but who's going to take him? Nobody's going to want him.
Yes.
Like that's the general vibe.
I have definitely seen that. I've been seeing that for, a couple of years since I first started following the Flyers.
And we like him.
We like him. We like him a lot. We like him for his off-ice stuff. He's really involved in, pride stuff. He does a lot on his own for the community in Philly.
Yeah.
He's really well loved in the room. He just seems like a great guy.
Has fun with Gritty.
He has fun with Gritty. The man did a JCPenney photo shoot with Gritty.
Yeah.
How can you not love him?
Yeah. He's a new dad. Everything. Yeah. He's a good guy. We like him.
Oh, that's part of why people are complaining. They said he's too busy thinking about his baby and not hockey.
Right.
Because hockey players can only think about hockey 100% of the time and they're not allowed to have lives.
Right.
Because that's normal. Well, I like to think he silenced some of his haters during this game.
He apparently did.
The Flyers beat the Red Wings 4-1. And how many of the Flyers goals did Lawton score?
Oh, my God.
He scored all 4 of them.
All 4 goals.
All 4 goals. The second one he scored was also his 100th career goal. So
yeah, right.
Great.
It was a monumental game for him.
Very big game for him. Detroit pulled their goalie near the end, and Lawton scored his hat trick on an empty net.
Yep.
And then they kept their goalie out. And
they were like, we're still going for it.
And he scored his 4th one on an empty net. And the 4th one, he actually tried to pass the puck over to Garnet Hathaway, who immediately passed it back to him.
Right. And I guess Hathaway did get the assist on that then.
He did get the assist.
That's funny.
So there's kind of debate. I initially thought that he was like, listen, I had a hat trick. I've got enough. Garney, why didn't you take this? And Garnet was like, absolutely not, you fuckhead. Like, you're getting this.
Yeah.
But then somebody else was like, I think maybe Lotz was just like, oh, here, dude, you might as well get an assist.
Here's a free point for you.
Here's a free point.
Yeah.
So either way, it's great. Lawton could have just totally done it all on his own. He was completely in position to do it. But either he tried to give it away and Hathaway was like, fuck you.
Yep.
You're scoring all of the goals tonight. Or he was like, okay, I guess I'll take it. But you should get a point at least. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
It was the greatest. It was such a good game. If you love Lots like we do, then...
Yeah, it was great.
Such a vindication.
And there was a stat towards the beginning of the game that, like, it's the Red Wings are his, like, most scored on team. Like, he always, like, puts up numbers against that team for some reason. And I guess there's something about Detroit and him.
I guess so. I mean...
I don't know.
But yeah, this is unprecedented even by his standards.
For sure.
So could not be more delighted. And then last game of the week was a bit of a letdown after the 2 previous games. Yesterday, the Flyers played the Wild. The Wild have looked amazing this year, and they kept it up yesterday. The Flyers actually had a lot of really good chances, and the game could have been much closer than the 4-1 loss that would eventually happen. TK was absolutely robbed in the first period by Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yes, I saw that one.
I mean, that's a contender for a goal of save of the year right there.
Yeah, that one should be in the clips of the year.
All the highlight reels. Yeah. I mean, it was gorgeous, just great save, and then kind of spun around with it on the ice afterwards.
Yep.
They cut to Fleury, and he was just giggling like a schoolgirl under his mask.
He was delighted by that save. He was like, "Can you believe I just did that?"
He was like, "This is the best prank I've ever pulled. I've pulled a lot of pranks."
Yeah.
And then, you cut to TK, and TK is smiling about it too, because you can't not smile at that.
It was ridiculous.
It was so good.
Elderly man makes ridiculous save.
That man's 40 years old.
Yeah.
He's 3 years younger than I am. I can't even get out of bed some mornings.
Yeah.
I'm so rickety. It's ridiculous. TK was not smiling so much in the second period after there was another save on a goal.
Mm-hmm.
He had a pretty wide open net and went to put the puck in, and Michkov made the save.
I don't know. I wouldn't say pretty wide open. I would say wide open.
Wide open. It was wide open.
Wide open.
Wide open. And it bounced off Michkov's stick, who he had his stick positioned really poorly. And
Michkov made the save.
That was how it got clipped and put up on Reddit, was Michkov makes the save on a Travis Konechny goal. And people in the comments were like, I was so confused by this title. And then I clicked on it, and that is what it was.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Oh, poor Teeks.
Yep.
Yeah, he was cursed, my poor boy. Travis Sanheim did score and kept it from being a shutout, but it was kind of a bummer to end the week on.
Yeah, I was out and about running around town.
Buying cat food,
that kind of stuff.
People.
I I watched most of the first, and then I left. And, if it was against a different team, I might have like delayed a little bit, but I was like, nah, the Wild are probably going to take this one. They just look really good. We've seen enough of them this year, especially with Kirill. Like, dude's ridiculous.
He's insane.
Yeah, so they're looking good. And I know Hockey Psychology posted the NHL has a Wild problem, and I haven't watched it, but I'm like, yeah, no, they're real good, and apparently not supposed to be that good.
They have been sort of quietly building up to this, I think. And then after this year, they're going to get out under Suter's contract and Zach Parese's contract, and they're going to have a lot of money.
Boom.
They've already announced their intention to give Kaprizov all the money he needs to stay with them forever.
Right.
And then get more people in to continue to help him out. And I think they're going to be real dangerous.
And they were down the funny guy with the mustache, right?
Yes, Middleton is out with a broken hand.
Right.
So they've brought in Travis Dermott.
The funny guy with the mustache.
Yes. See, Fred, super knowledgeable about hockey. This is why you have me around.
Yep.
To translate for you. Well, I don't want to end on a bummer note, so we don't have a game this week, but I do have just a quick list of Leon Bischel fun facts that I've
Leon Bischel fun facts. All right. This is exciting.
I've been just reading about him a lot this week. So when he was being interviewed by all of the different teams before the draft, one of them asked him which animal fit him best as a person and a player. And he said a gorilla. And here's his quote explaining why. On the ice, a gorilla is strong. He likes to fight. He's heavy. But also a gorilla can be calm. He can be chill. He can be alone. That's the perfect match for me.
Wow, that's cool. I like that.
It's really cool, right?
Yeah.
And this is a couple of years ago. He was like 17, 18 when he said this. His brain is as cool as
Yeah. He's not just attracted to the power of a gorilla. He's like, no, but
he's they're super chill.
They got a whole other side you don't even know about.
Exactly. When he was 16, he moved to Sweden on his own to play hockey because he was playing in Switzerland, but he didn't think that they were being aggressive enough with his development.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're younger, no matter how good you are, you don't get a chance to play sort of on the first team.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to be challenged and have more opportunities. So he said, fuck it, I'm moving to Sweden. I don't care if I'm 16.
Yeah, these hockey kids moving countries. Not only just states or provinces, but yeah, they're into it.
He said of that time, I know how to cook, I know how to clean, and I like to be alone sometimes. It was just the right thing for me to learn about myself. And he says about cooking that I like to cook. It brings me away from hockey. His specialty dish is risotto.
Wow, look at him.
Because he says you need patience.
Yeah.
What a cool kid.
Oh my God, he's more interesting than I thought.
I was really delighted by all of this.
Yeah, he's got kind of a goalie vibe to him, like that weird inner peace side of things.
Yeah, no, he's very sort of solitary and chill. His coach in Sweden said that he had heard back then when he was playing that there are players on opposing teams who don't like to be on the ice when Bish goes out for a shift because of his physical style of play. And he went on to clarify that he's talking about actual grown men. And this is when Bish was a teenager. He said, Leon does not back down. He's tough for real.
Yeah.
So can you imagine grown men, hockey players who
being
are oh, do I have to go up against that kid?
That's awesome.
That's a large boy and he will hurt me.
Yeah, he pushes real strong.
Yeah. So I loved that. He speaks German, Swiss German, English, and Swedish.
Okay.
Just casually multilingual.
Yeah.
And then just a little more recent trivia. He took his rookie lap, his first game this week, without a helmet on because he just got a new haircut and he wanted to show it off.
Yeah. What a baller move.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's the greatest. We need more of that and less of whatever nonsense we have going on.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm excited. He's exciting to watch. I hope he stays up. I really do.
I hope he stays up. I hope he when he's done press, I've seen a little bit of the press he's given. He's really good on camera.
He's thoughtful and he's eloquent.
He's calm.
Yeah.
He doesn't sort of stutter. I mean, he certainly is more well-spoken than I am on this podcast.
Yeah. We saw that one thing where he said he went back over there last year. He's like, I went back over there to work on some things. And I hope, when I came back that I could show it off.
Yeah.
He's like, I did work and I'm ready to go.
He's very confident, but not cocky. He's in the article I read. He was one of only 3 16-year-olds on his team in Sweden, and everybody else was like married and had kids, and he just kind of hung out with all the old guys. There was something about how when he was a kid, he always preferred to sit at the adult table instead of the kids' table.
Well, he wouldn't fit at the kids' table.
That's true. Anyway, I just want to keep learning more and more about him because I already loved his on-style ice play, or his on-ice style of play. And now that I'm learning more about him off the ice, I think he's kind of a fascinating human too. Man,
it's just a Bischel love fest up in here.
It's a Bischel love fest. He's a big Bish, and I'm here for it. And that's the end of regulation for this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on both Tumblr and Instagram at Ice is Slippery Pod, where I post content whenever I remember. We're also on Twitter now at Slippery Ice Pod. If you're afraid of social media, you can email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we'd love to hear your spicy takes or get suggestions for future games. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box, unless you're Leon Bischel.